Hey everyone, Genome here, coming at you with another Marvel Strike Force character fix video. In this video, I'm going to talk about a component of a team that I've talked about actually in other videos before, one that I think needs serious love, and that's Supernatural. And I'm going to be focusing on the damage dealer of this team, Elsa Bloodstone. Unfortunately, Elsa's use is very minimal, even on her own team. A lot of times she's getting swapped out for Loki, Hela, that combination. But the thing is, Loki and Hela are so useful and they're so in demand as plug-and-play characters for war that maybe you're using them on another team to counter something else, and so you may be stuck either using A, non-supernatural characters, or B, the whole supernatural lineup here, which is going to include Elsa. I think Elsa is incredibly necessary for this team, and I'll tell you why, but unfortunately, she's just not good enough in her current state. The reason she's so necessary on Supernatural is because there's no damage on Supernatural, right? It's like, you're never going to beat Marauder's team with these guys unless you're like subbing out other characters for these. There's just not enough damage on there, even with Elsa. Elsa is a prime damage dealer, but that's all she's really bringing. There's a little bit more in her passive we'll get into. But yeah, Supernatural desperately needs damage. They have pretty good sustain, they have fairly decent control and all that, and they got an interesting mechanic with Ghost Rider and the synergy between him and Doctor Strange, right? But Elsa, I never run Scarlet Witch on the team. Usually I just put a stronger 5th character in there, but I've made videos about her too, how to fix her. But let's talk about Elsa. Maybe my favorite blaster in this game. I absolutely love her kit, but it does need some tweaks, and so I'm going to put some ideas out there that I think could make her a more viable option, because you don't want to leave the prime damage dealer off this team. You need her, but she needs to bring some more to the tables. So let's get into like her stats and things like that a little bit. You know, I'm not going to really show too much because her power is low on me, but like, you know, Raider, it's a no-brainer, kind of ISO for her. She's going to be doing AoE attack, usually on her first, and then she has another attack that hits 2 things, and she has a passive that'll sometimes go off by itself, so she'd be hitting multiple characters, so yeah, Raider makes a lot of sense with her. Another option is probably Striker, just to up her damage and make her beefier, but I'd say Raider's probably the more consistent one, but, you know, your results may vary. Oops, I got all the way out of her. Okay, so, yes, she's a blaster, mystic, you know, and that's about all she got going for in Hero, of course. Her abilities are interesting, but they're all just pure damage and really nothing else. But let's go into it just a little bit here. Her basic is a really, really, really sleeper good basic. Almost all of these multi-hit basics are. There's not too many of them in the game. The most famous one's probably Ebony Maw, right? And it's awesome. This thing will eat up death proofs, it eats up counters and that sort of thing, or deflects, you know what I mean? It's just great that hits a lot of times. It's not the biggest damage, but I guarantee if you start getting high red stars on her and you start beefing her up, it's going to do some pretty good shots. It's pure piercing, so that's really a big deal. It's not a modifier. So good deal there, good attack. I don't think this attack one needs anything else, to be honest with you. I think it's just fine for basic, and probably much better than the average one, even though it doesn't debuff or anything like that. Her special is another sleeper good one. I don't think this thing needs anything else either, but I would like it to peel a death proof off of the target. If it's like within, you know, basically execute range, I would like it to peel the death proof off a character, so you don't have to waste 2 shots on this, but regardless, there's not too much you have to do this one either. It does what it does. It's an execute move. You can hit probably 2 characters with this, or just really nuke one. It's pretty much fine as is, but I would like it to at least peel the death proof off so you don't have to waste 2 shots on an almost dead character, right? That would be kind of nice. So that one's kind of fine too. The biggest problems I have with her are actually on her ultimate and on her passive. So let's take a look at her ultimate real fast. Gain offense up for 2 turns, attack primary target for adjacent target for 220 damage, plus 15 damage per supernatural ally. This goes up considerably with T4 investments, and that's something else I'll talk about with her. 30% damage to primary target, and then plus 10, so you're talking another, 40 damage here from all the other supernatural stuff. It's going to be big damage, but it only hits adjacent. Now, this attack, it does pretty big raw damage, but it's got a couple things going against it. One, it's got a really long cooldown. For a pure damage dealer class, you're going to be using her basic way too much. And kind of with her special too, it's on a little bit too long of a cooldown. I think her special should be at most 3 energy and come loaded, and this one should be about 4. Really, I mean, it takes too long to get her to use this again, and it's really one of her best moves, but So yeah, offense up for 2 turns is great on someone like her, damage dealer. I think some of the tweaks you can make to this, it doesn't need any more damage. Damage is fine. Maybe offense up to adjacent allies would be kind of nice. It'd maybe bolster up Ghost Rider because he's the second biggest damage dealer on this team, but he needs a little help there, and whoever the third would be. That's an option. So it could be like a aim assaulter kind of thing, or aim monstrosity who gives the offense up or whatever to adjacent. Just something small there, but I think it needs something also on the damage component itself. And I think maybe if you leave a bleed behind, it clears some sort of buff. Maybe has a chance to apply a blind. You can call it like poison pellets or something. I don't know. I think it needs just a little something other than just raw damage. That's I think her biggest failing, because everything she does is just plain raw damage, and she's not even the prime damage dealer in this game. So if that's all you're gonna have, you need to be like amped up, like Punisher or Black Bowler or something like that, and she just isn't. So I think leaving a bleed or a stack of bleeds behind would be kind of cool. A chance at blinding, especially if you leave it on Niz with a long cooldown, yes, it needs to blind or something. Slow, it needs to do something. Rewind some turn meter, that'd be kind of cool too, right? But this needs a little something extra on this ultimate, and I think you gotta knock at least 2 ability energy off this thing. You gotta be able to use this more often, more than once a fight, to be a little more competitive, right? So, but all the other things are good, and this damage does deceptively big damage. This ability does deceptively big damage with a full supernatural team, and that's where she excels, really. So put something on the tag end of her ultimate and knock down the ability energy level. Like I said, I think this attack should be 3, even though it's really powerful. She's pure damage. Make her with short cooldowns, right? And finally, the weirdest thing about her is her passive. It's a super, super cool passive, right? But it's got some flaws. Until you put the T4 into it, which will fix some of the problems. But on miss or ally miss, if this character has 3 or more supernatural allies, attack a target for 220. So great, they dodge. The other person's blinded and they throw attack out at the person. She's going to throw an attack at them and hit them pretty hard, right? Sounds great on paper, and it is really great on paper. It negates a lot of stuff in this game, and it really helps against the NPCs like Spider-Man, Vision. Those guys are dodging you all the time. Guess what? She's a perfect counter to those guys. But there's a problem with her. On enemy dodge, of course, attach that enemy for 220 damage. So basically, if they're dodging, if they're evading, they're doing anything like that, she's going to hit them and hit them hard. So it's basically like that person didn't even miss the attack. It's a really cool passive and a great idea. And then you gain 10% crit and whatever, that's no big deal. For her, it's good for the crit, but no one else really needs it on the team that much. And then gain 10 accuracy per supernatural. So if you're going to use Elsa to her full extent, this basically goes for almost everything, but maybe even her basic. You need to T4 everything. If you want the hard, raw damage that she can put out, you got to put the T4s in it, because all the best stuff opens up in T4 land, right, for the most part. So, and this one, most especially, because you'll gain 10% accuracy per supernatural ally. This will allow her to hit even through blinds sometimes. I think it's like 50% chance through a blind. So that's great, because there's nothing more frustrating than watching her do her little passive attack, right? And she still misses because she's either blinded or the other character just dodges again. I've seen this miss on dodges. It's like, I don't think the character should be able to dodge this shot. This should be like an unmissable thing that she does, I think. I don't think it would make her too strong. But it's nothing more frustrating than, say, throwing out a basic from Mordo at Spider-Man in a raid, and he dodges, or in War or whatever, he dodges, and then she does her passive, and he dodges that too. And it's like, you think it would just keep chaining until she hits, right? Because that's kind of how it reads on enemy dodge, attack at enemy for 220 damage. It doesn't say, like, it stops, So if he dodges or evades, maybe they should word it to dodge, evade, whatever the case may be, that it just hits. She needs to hit with this attack. Once again, she's pure damage. She cannot afford to be missing stuff. Even Black Bolt has an attack that cannot miss, right? She doesn't really even have that. So with a T4, it takes some of this problem away for things like blind. So yeah, I don't know. The funny thing too about Supernatural, there's several attacks on the team that don't even require, it doesn't matter if they're blind. So let's talk about a few of those. Like, of course, Baron Mordo's ultimate does 0 damage, but it's something to do if you're blinded, right? Or they have dodge up and they're on death's door or something like that. That can work. Doctor Strange basic can't miss. I believe Ghost Rider special can't miss either. Let me look at that. Yeah, cannot be blocked and cannot miss. So there's a lot of things in here that seem counterproductive to that passive, because like there's a lot of attacks you can do when you're blind. So if you're just using her for like say versus Magneto or something, like a team like that puts out a lot of blind, you know, or like a Jubilee or something like that. There's usually things you can do to work around that without her passive. So I think her passive needs some tweaking, to be honest with you. But the main part of it, the main component is she should not be missing with that attack. It's just too much damage to miss, and it completely neuters like almost all the cool factor of what she brings to the table. Because other than that, it's just raw damage, right? That is a cool like mechanic, and it just needs not to miss. So, and I don't know if she could give something else. Maybe give other. Or accuracy to other supernatural teammates. There's got to be something. I mean, you see the wall of text that characters get now. She's an older character, but it just doesn't bring enough to the team, and raw damage just doesn't cut it anymore. You know, you can't just put raw damage. You don't just stick Punisher on random teams because he does high damage, or Black Bolt, or whether you still usually need some sort of synergy to make it come to its full potential, right? And it's honestly, you can usually run this team more successfully without her, which is a shame. I usually run it with her because I really like the character, and I want to make her work, and I really wish I could actually dump more materials, resources into her to see her at higher levels, but I just can't. I can't afford to do it because she has so little use in this game. You know, I use her as a war attack team, and sometimes I'll use her in RTA, but that's it. That's the only place I use Supernatural, of course, Blitz, but that don't count, right? So, yeah, Elsa is it's an incredibly frustrating character. I think with just some minor tweaking, she won't be overpowered, but she can be a lot more usable, and then you wouldn't like feel compelled to drop her off her own team, right? Because she's not going to slide in anywhere else. Now with the tags she has. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Elsa Bloodstone? Is she a good character that's just, you know, the meta's or the game is completely left behind? We'll never see it shine again. Would you like to see her get reworked just slightly? And if she did, would you reuse her at that point? I'm curious to hear what you say in the comments below, because yeah, I think she's got a great character model. She has some really fun animations too, and she brings something very unique to this game we don't see anywhere else. It just doesn't work enough, and that's the problem, man. You can up her damage a little bit, give her lower the ability energy requirements on her ultimate, and make her passive work 100%. And I think she could be at least back on the Supernatural team, if nothing else. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know once again your ideas in the comments below. And until next time, this is your favorite monster hunter signing out.